So, environmental ethics, issues, and possible solutions. What are the environmental ethics? What are the issues? And what are the possible solutions? Will be discussed. So, environmental ethics deals with issues related to the rights of individuals that are fundamental to life and well-being. These concerns not only the needs of each person today, but also those who will come after us. Therefore, many times when the environmentalists, scientists, they talk about long term, very oftenly a term comes in discussion that is sustainability or sustainable use. So the term sustainable use means utilizing the resources in such a way that it should be available for the coming generation. So this comes under environmental ethics, how wisely we are utilizing several resources, available resources, so that we are using it, not over exploiting it. So it also deals with the rights of other living creatures that inhabit our earth. What are the issues and possible solutions? Resource consumption patterns and full utilization. Environmental ethics. It deals with issues that are related to how we utilize and distribute resources among different sectors. It is a serious concern that the access and ownership of various resources differs among different group of people, province, nation. That is a serious environmental concern. An equitable sharing of resources forms the basis of sustainable development for urban, rural, and wilderness dwelling communities as the political power base is in the urban centers. This itself leads to inequalities and a subsequent loss of sustainability in resource management in the rural and even more so for forest dwelling people. The key points are environmental destruction is largely caused by the consumption of the rich. The worst sufferers of environmental destruction are the poor, even where nature is being recreated, as in afforestation, it is being transformed away from the needs of the poor and to society and nature. So it is well known to all of us that Equal sharing of all resources must be done. We also know that during any calamity, during any destruction, the one who comes in trouble or the one who faces a lot maximum are the poor people. Moreover, the worst sufferers are the marginalized cultures and occupations, and most of all, women. Several examples can be seen from the history that for the development activities when forest area is being cleaned up, the tribal communities which are staying in those area are asked to shift from their own place to another place without getting proper compensation. Therefore, it is advised to talk about equal sharing among different stakeholders. If we take an example of forest area, the communities, especially tribal communities which are residing in forest area, they are the responsible persons who are taking care of the biodiversity in their local area. And the produce which are generated from the forest area are consumed in much quantity by the urban people compared to the rural people or those communities which are staying in the forest area. Therefore, there is a need to discuss or to share equally among different stakeholders or shareholders. Second is equity, that is disparity in the northern and southern countries. So environmental ethics are concerned with who owns the resources and how they are distributed. This can be looked upon at different levels. At a global level, it deals with the great divide between the rich industrialized nations of Europe and Asia. People living in the economically advanced nations use greater amounts of resources and energy per capita per individual and also waste much more resources. This is at the cost of poor people who are resource dependent and live in developing nations. Most of the economically advanced nations has over-exploited their own natural resources. Many examples can be seen, especially from USA, the rural area of America, where large scale of beef production is done. There are several farms in rural areas which are working as a very huge company, entrepreneurs for beef business. So for rearing the animals, they overexploit land for food of those animals, and also they are over exploiting the water resource too. So this can be a very good example to understand how there is disparity among different countries. They now buy natural resources from economically deprived nations at a low cost. This depletes the developing nations of natural resources on which their poor depend for their livelihood. Changing this unfair economic practice to a more just and fair way in managing trade would require a new thinking on the part of people who live in the super rich countries. Urban rural equity issue. The common property of rural communities has increasingly been used to supply the needs of the urban sector. Land itself that was once held as a common property, resources of villages is being taken over by the urban and industrial sectors as it expands. The rural sector not only supplies food but also a part of the energy needs, mainly fuel wood, to most towns and cities in India. The rural sector not only supplies food but also a part of the energy need to most towns and cities in India. As a result, the resources of the rural sector are being depleted. Thus, while the cities get richer, the rural sector, especially the landless, get poorer. The urban rich must appreciate where their resources are deprived from and be willing to pay a fair price for using them. The need of gender equity. Why there is need of gender equity? Because all over India, especially in the rural sector, women work on the whole longer hours that men. The life of a woman is enmeshed in an inextricable cycle of poverty. Females have to be dependent on male family members and mostly engaged for 10 to 12 hours per day in collecting food, fuel wood, collecting fodders, selling the collected items at far distance to get better economic value, fetching of water, and finally cooking in smoky and unhealthy environment using crop waste on other sources. Mostly in rural areas, females are less prioritized for education and decision making. Males mostly are laborers in urban areas or work in field, whereas women are much connected to natural resources. Thus, they appreciate the value of conserving the natural resources compared to men. Thus, several environmental movements such, such as Chipko, a movement to prevent deforestation of Himalayan region in Uttarakhand, have been more strongly supported by local women folk rather than men. Preserving resources for future use, for future generations. Can we use up all the resources of the world, leaving nothing for our future generations? Awareness, sustainable use, development strategies, policies and law. The rights of animals. Can man, a single species, uses the severely exploit the earth resources which we share with billions of other plants and animal species. Within our world, there are variety of living beings, the plants and animals that share the earth with us too have a right to live and share our earth's resources and living space. We have no right to push a species that has taken millions of years to evolve extinction. Cruelty to an animal is no difficult ethically from cruelty to another human being. Cruelty to an animal is no different ethically from cruelty to other human being. Human beings are one small cog in the wheel of the life on earth. We frequently forget that man has learned to exploit nature and other species well beyond what we should use justifiable. Nature by itself has natural predator relationships. Left to right, nature maintains a balance in each ecosystem. While evolving has developed a system whereby species become extinct, so nature by itself has natural predator relationship. Left to itself, nature maintains a balance in each ecosystem. While evolving has developed a system whereby species become extinct and new ones evolve to fill the world's ecosystem with new plant and animal species. It is man alone that has been responsible for the recent rapid decline in the number of species on Earth. Much more important, man is now reducing the abundance level of so many species that in the near future we will, in all probability, create a major extinction spans on Earth that will seriously endanger the existence of mankind. There is a growing awareness of animals' right in our country, and cruelty to animals is being increasingly regarded as a criminal offense. The ethical basis of environment, location, and awareness. Perhaps the most important concern is related to creating an ethics that will support a sustainable lifestyle in society. This brings us to the need for environmental education. The Honorary Supreme Court of our country has turned order that every young individual at school and college level be exposed to a certificate course on environment. It is not to create only an answer of environmental issues, but also to bring about pro-environmental actions. Among the variety of tools they they can bring home the ethical issues of the environment. No solution is as powerful as real life experience. The conservation ethics and traditional value systems of India. The ancient Indian traditions people have already valued mountains, rivers, forests, trees, and severe animals. Thus, much of nature was venerated and protected. Forests have been associated with the name of forest god and goddess, both in the Hindu as well as in tribal community. Thus, much of nature was venerated and protected. Forests have been associated with the names of forest gods and goddess, both the Hindu religion as well as in Sivrahim. Tree goddess have been associated with specific plant growth. The banyan tree in some regions such as Maharashtra is venerated once a year by laying a thread around it is a symbol of respect. The tulsi plant is grown on the doorstep outside each and every household. In Indian mythology, the elephant is associated with Lord Ganesh. The headed Ganesha is also linked to the rat. The elephant headed Ganesha is also linked to the rat. Vishnu is associated with the eagle. The sun god Surya rides a horse and has a super chariot on which he moves through the sky. The lion is linked to Durga and black buck to the moon goddess. The cow is associated with Krishna. Concepts that support nature's integrity must thus become a part of our modern educational system. This continues a key solution to bring about a new ethics of conserving nature and sustainable lifestyle. Climate change, global warming, acid rain, ozone layer depletion, nuclear accidents, and Holocaust. So, climate change, it is the average temperature in many regions has been increased in recent decades. The global average surface temperature has increased by 0.6 degree plus 0.2 over the last century. Globally, 1998 was the warmest year, and the 1990s the warmth decade on record. Symptoms of climate change: change in frequency and duration of rainfall, change in pattern of seasons, increase in natural calamities and waterborne diseases due to mosquito, rapid service flood and droughts. Global mean sea level is projected to rise after these all signs that the earth is sick, its climate is changing, mother need to provide better comfort. The earth is losing its ability to balance itself due to the imbalance. Climatologists of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change have reviewed the results of several experiments in order to estimate climate change in climate in the course of this century. These studies have shown that in the near future, the global mean surface temperature will rise by 8 degrees Celsius. Techniques. Global warming. About 75% of the solar energy reaching the Earth is absorbed on the Earth's surface, which increases its temperature. The rest of the heat radiates back to the atmosphere. Some of the hot is trapped by greenhouse gases, mostly carbon dioxide. As carbon dioxide is released by various human activities, it is rapidly increased, this causing global warming. The average surface temperature is about 15 degrees Celsius. This is about 33 degrees Celsius higher than it would be in the absence of the greenhouse effect. What are the major causes? Population growth, industrialization, urbanization, improper agriculture. Many countries have signed a Many countries have signed a convention to reduce greenhouse gases. Under the United Nations Convention on Climate Change, current international agreements are, however, not still pending, still effective to prevent the significant changes in climate and rise in sea level. Acid rain: when fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gases are burned, chemicals like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide are poured. These animals react with water and other chemicals in the air. Acid rain is known to cause widespread environmental damage. The acid rain dissolves and washes away nutrition in the soil, which acid rain indirectly affects plants, removing nutrients from the soil in which they grow. It affects trees more directly by creating holes in the waxy coating of leaves, causing brown dead spot, which affects the plant photosynthesis. Such trees are also more vulnerable to insect infestations, drought and cold sprouts, and the forests are higher elevation seems to be most at risk. Farm crops are less affected by acid rain than forests. Acid rain that falls or flow as groundwater to reach river, lakes, and fields, causing the water in them to become acidic. This affects plant and animal life in aquatic system. Acid rain also has far-reaching effects on wildlife. Acid rain also has far-reaching effect on wildlife. By adversely affecting one species, the entire food chain is disrupted, ultimately endangering the entire system. Although surface water polluted by acid rain does not directly harm people, the toxic substances leached from the soil can pollute water supply. The best way to stop the formation of acid rain is to reduce the emissions of sulfur dioxide and electrification. This can be achieved by using less energy from fossil fuel to power plant, vehicles or industry, and being more dependent on that is the good thing. Ozone layer depletion. Ozone is formed by the action of sunlight on oxygen. It forms a layer 20 to 50 kilometers above the surface of the earth. This action takes place naturally in the atmosphere but is very slow. Ozone is ozone in the upper atmosphere. The ozone layer in the upper atmosphere absorbs the sun's ultraviolet radiation, preventing it from reaching the Earth's surface. In the 1970s, scientists discovered that chemical called chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, which were used as refrigerant and aerosol spray problem, posed a threat to the office air timing of the river. Although the use of CFCs has been reduced and now banned in many countries, with the signing of the MOU or Montreal Protocol in 1987, a treaty for the protection of the ozone layer, the use of CFCs was to be banned by the year 2000. After 2000, the ozone layer is expected to recover slowly over a period of time. Nuclear accidents and nuclear holocaust. Nuclear energy was restarted, researched and discovered as a huge source of alternate energy, which would be clean and cheap compounded to fossil fuels. And although these things happen, along with the benefit of nuclear energy came its downfall. In the short history of nuclear energy, there have been acts that have surpassed any natural calamities or other energy source extraction in their names. A single nuclear accident a single nuclear accident can cause loss of life, long-term illness and destruction on property and land scale. Nuclear holocaust. The use of natural energy in water has there was an the Hiroshima and Nagasaki incident during World War II, the only use of nuclear power in war in history, is one of the most worst disasters in history. In 1945, the United States dropped atom bombs in Japan over the towns of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These two atomic bombs killed thousands of people, left many thousand injured, and devastated everything for miles around. The effect of the radiation from these natural bombs can still be seen today in the form of cancer and genetic mutation is visualized to monitor each and every activities being at their residence area itself. Therefore, we talk about house design or farmhouse design that should be improved on. So, a farmhouse should be designed to provide maximum utility and comfort. The various rooms should be so located as to provide adequate comfort and minimum time and energy wastage in going from one to the other. So uh, we should consider 3 or 4 points that farmhouse should be designed in such a way that it should provide maximum utility and comfort for the residents. Also, the various rooms should be located or it should be designed and constructed in such a way that minimum time and energy must be utilized for going from one room to another room or from one place to another place. So easy access should be there to all the rooms and all the components. So that is we talk in the improved design of farmhouses. So talking about bedroom, a typical bedroom of 3.6 into 3 meter will accommodate two single beds of 1 into 2 meter, cross ventilation with one side exposed to the prevailing breeze is a desirable feature in design. Every bedroom should be provided with attached toilet facilities or should have an independent access to the common toilet room. Some storage space is also essential in every bedroom because the residents or the people who are going to stay in that area, in that bedroom, very commonly they have their own personal belongings and which has to be stored or which has to be or proper space for uh, keeping or storing that all items should be provided in each and every bedroom. Additionally, there should be proper arrangement of ventilation and cross ventilation. So in each and every room, especially in bedroom and drawing rooms, cross ventilation is must. If there is no proper cross ventilation, it is going to be the atmosphere is going to be say like dizzy or very uncomfortable for the people who are going to stay in that room. So therefore we talk about whenever we talk about a bedroom, there is a typical size. Smaller than that size, we should not construct the bedroom for accommodating two people or two beds. And we also talk about the cross ventilation. That cross ventilation is must in every bedroom. So this can be one of the design of the bedrooms and several other rooms. Like we can see the entry is from here. This part is veranda consisting of 3.9 meter into 1.90 meter. Then there is an entry, first entry towards the bedroom, and the size of the bedroom is 4.0 into 2.8 meter. Second entry is in the living room. Then from the living room there is entry to the dining veranda or the dining space. Similar kind of space or opening is attachment is given from the bedroom, or access is given from the bedroom to the dining veranda. So the people staying here as well as here can have access, direct access to the dining area. Similarly, you can see like this bedroom is attached with a storeroom also. Also, there is a passage or opening. Bathroom is here, and then this one is the kitchen area. So by this design, some calculations are also given, like main block is 12.8 into 4.6 meter, that is 59 square meter. Then side is 6.7 into 3 meter, that is 20 square meter, and all total it is 79 square meter. Then deduction 1 into 2.1 meter, that is 2 approx 2 square meter. So when we subtract from 2 square meter from 79 square meter, it is going to be 77 square meter. So 77 square kilometer, 77 square meter of area constructed or design is for 77 square meter. So we can see that uh, this design is very comfortable. It is very it will, this type of design if we have in the farmhouse for the residential area, for residential building, it is going to provide the maximum comfort. As well as you can see that there is opening over here, veranda, there is passage and opening over here. The toilet facility is provided at the end. So this is a very good kind of design, and from the both side there is opening, so cross ventilation will be proper in this type of design. Next is the drawing room. So drawing room, as we know that it is for social gathering, recreation. For the guests who are visiting, we take them to the drawing room rather than taking them to the bedroom or to the dining area. So the drawing room generally serves as the room for recreation and social gathering. The minimum size of the drawing room is 4.5 into 3.6 meter. The minimum size of the drawing room, that should be 4.5 to into 3.6 meter. But some people prefer to have one large drawing room of about 6 into 4.5 meter to serve as the drawing cum dining room. So there are people who wish or they prefer to have a bigger area of drawing room. So combinedly, they can use that drawing room for uh, social gathering, recreation purpose, or for visiting of the guest, as well as dining room or dining facilities are also provided within that drawing room itself. So that depends on the choice of the owner, that what size of drawing room he or she requires to be constructed. So the drawing room is best suited to be on one side of the house and should generally open into the front porch, kitchen, and one side should be the bedroom. So remember this, the drawing room is best suited to be on one side of the house and should generally open into the front porch, kitchen, and bedroom. Then wall spacing in the drawing room should have plenty of provision for natural light and ventilation. So the wall space in the drawing room should have plenty of provisions for natural light and ventilation. Earlier also I have discussed that the residential building should have proper cross ventilation facilities as well as natural light. So it has advantage whenever there will be in such room where there will be proper ventilation and flow of air, circulation of air, less say like fan or AC facilities will be required.